In the early days, a certain Mr. Scholes of Milwaukee made a wooden model of a machine to which he gave the unfamiliar name of typewriter. Mr. Scholes did not get on very successfully with that machine, and those interested in it brought it to Edison to look it over and help to perfect it. Edison took up the job and found it was a tough one. Yet, after a while, he succeeded in getting the alignment of the letters in a commercial shape. They made some of those machines, and they were used by the automatic telegraph company in which Edison was interested. Later on, these machines came on the market under the name of the Remington typewriter. When I came here first, Mr. Ford asked me, what kind of a clock did you have at Menlo? I told him we had a St. Thomas clock that was made in Connecticut. He asked me to go along with him, and he brought me into his museum and showed me lots of clocks. I picked one out. I says, there is the exact clock that we used to have. Why, he said, that's curious. That very clock I got from my land, Ohio, where Edison was born. This is the old office that Edison had from 1876 until October 1878. Simple. It was here where all that kind of business was transacted as regards telegraphs, telephones, phonographs. When the electric light came on, he built a large brick office building that was combined with the library. In this place here you see an old-fashioned desk where Edison's bookkeeper used to sit. Here is the old Edison desk, genuine, that was used here formerly in this place. Here we have a few books, magazines, and journals of those days. Yonder is a cubbyhole where Edison used to retreat when he wanted to contemplate or take a nap. When I first came to the Edison laboratory in November 1878, I was fascinated with this cabinet and the one on the other side. Here were many old instruments of Edison, packed irregularly. Here we have various types, various models. Here we have a transmission instrument. Here we have another model of the embossing telegraph, which Edison, as I have already once said, told me was the father of the phonograph. Here we have an instrument relating to the chemical telegraph. Here is an instrument used in his harmonic telegraph experiments. Then, in the back, there were models. Here, down in the cabinet, the whole thing was crammed with a pell-mell of old induction coils, sounders, broken instruments, screws, and everything. Here we have a large number of old telegraph condensers. Edison used them in all his old experiments. I found these condensers everywhere, upstairs, under the table, and everywhere around. Now I'll go and open this case here. Here too we find another instrument that he used in his harmonic system of telegraphy. Here is his alarm, fire alarm. And in fact, it is full of old relics, giving a history of early days of his endeavors in all the various branches of electricity that he undertook to solve. "It's the old den," said Mr. Edison, as Mr. Ford led him in here for the first time. "It's the place where I used to spend hours on chemical experiments and analysis." And so it was. Edison, whenever an experiment was finished and another was in progress, he hurried during that time down here to make some analysis. He argued and wrangled with Dr. Hyde, a German academic chemist, and the two would often be closeted for hours. When the door was shut, no one ventured to go in and disturb Edison. But if you would have taken a peek, you would have seen him with some test tube in his hand, examining the same. And that way it went on until another experiment upstairs was finished. The work done here relates very little to that of electric lighting, with the exception in a few cases. The main thing, Edison was working on other problems that were purely of a chemical nature at that time. The old place as we see it here is so familiar. One would hardly believe his eyes that the restoration of the old Menlo Park laboratory would be so perfect. And I can never forget that moment when Edison came in here and his eyes sparkled with delight. He told Mr. Ford, too, I would like to be here and come here and do some work. And Mr. Ford told him, come on, we'll make you comfortable. We'll give you everything that's necessary for any kind of experiment. Many people have wondered why Edison had so many chemicals and other substances. As you see here, this whole laboratory is lined with shelves, right and left. Most of them contain chemicals and something rare. It was one of the great principles of Edison to obtain anything that came out new. He would send for it right away so that in case he needed it, it would be on hand. For Edison always wanted things right away and could not tolerate a wasting of time in procuring it.